Well, as promised, let's return to our top story, the flooding in the southern Indian state of Kerala, where the death toll has now gone past 350. Some now are asking whether much of the crisis could in any way have been avoided. Well, let's discuss all of that with the BBC World Service Environment correspondent Navin Singh Khadka, who is here in the studio. Welcome here to the programme. Let us start, as we did a few moments ago, in terms of the scale of this, because almost unprecedented, isn't it?
It is. They're saying after 100 years, and still, it's water everywhere, as you can see there. So you're still hearing politicians saying that nothing else but helicopters, only helicopters can evacuate our people. So you can imagine how bad it is. 725,000 plus people displaced, 200,000 just evacuated yesterday, and 370 plus dead. It's really serious, and they think that this is not how they would be able to cope if it happens again.
Well, we'll come to whether it is likely to happen again in a moment or two, but you've been looking at this in quite a lot of detail. You've been looking particularly about the level of preparedness. Were there warnings this time for this?
So, Matthew, just a month ago, there was this official report that said that this state, Kerala, was the worst performer of all the South Indian states in terms of managing water resources. Now, what does that mean? That means, dealing with floods or groundwater and so on and so forth. And then there was also another report that said that Kerala is one of those 10 most vulnerable states in the country in terms of floods. So there were enough warnings, but what happened is they seem to have confirmed that yes, it is not ready for all those. So one of the issues that water experts have raised is that there are so many dams in the state, and the argument is that the water of these dams were not released timely and gradually. They waited for this last hour when they were all filled up, and then the water were gushing out, and then it was in your doorsteps.
Now, there have been a series of Indian scientific reports warning of ever-increasing monsoon rains, because they've been pretty clear, haven't they, this time around, that we're no longer in the territory of talking about warnings. This is a result of climate change, in their view.
So yes, if you asked me this question, say 2 or 3 years ago, I would be very careful. But now, when we see all this happening all around the world, and in India, particularly the monsoon, so there have been clear-cut warnings that monsoon would be more erratic. What that means is you'll get massive amount of rainfall in short span of time. So what happened here was you got nearly 40% of excess rainfall within 2.5 months, whereas in the past that excess amount would have been there, say, in 4 or 5 months. So that is massive. And then in wake of that, are you ready? Were you ready for all this? That was the question.
And I suppose briefly and finally, what I promised to come back to, if we are now, with global warming, going to see things like this more frequently, it means the authorities are simply going to have to change their approach, doesn't it?
Yes, so the new normal, that's what the term is, that this is going to be a new normal. Although they are saying it's a national calamity, 100 years and so on and so forth, but the prediction is that there will be a rerun of this. And so are they prepared? So all these things about concrete, the massive sprawling cities, or have you been able to safeguard your natural safeguards, say the wetlands or whatever you have? And then also the dam. Kerala in particular, in India's context, has exposed this particular chapter that dams can be really
and even
dangerous.
Forecasting as well.
Of course, forecasting. So that now what happens in India is there is a central authority that does the forecasting, and there is also criticism that there was no proper forecasting. The state is accusing the centre that there was no proper forecasting, and water experts confirm that.
Well, Navin, thanks for going through all of those issues they now are having to consider. Thanks so much.